Right, hi everyone. Excuse the backdrop. I am working from home this morning. I do have an office normally. Okay, so where do we start? First of all, I just want to give you a whistle-stop tour of what PR is, because if you haven't encountered it before, or you thought, oh, I can't engage with somebody like that, they'll be far too expensive, I don't really understand what it is. It's public relations. So a good public relations consultant will look at everywhere where you are touching the public. It is not just about the media. I just happen to specialize in the media because that was what my career was before I set up my own business, full-time in television and newspapers and radio. PR is not press relations, it's public relations. So just wanted to clarify that. The second thing I'll say is, don't panic, I'm not going to sell to you, because actually I'm in the very fortunate position is I've got enough retained clients. I don't need any more at the moment, which is a great place to be. Someone will have to go in order for me to work with somebody else. But I do train a lot of people, which I love, because before I became a journalist, I actually trained to be a teacher and decided that secondary school was not for me. By telling you these bits and pieces, and as you start to find out about me through this talk, some of you will feel an emotional resonance with points of commonality. So if I say to you that I'm 56 and that I've got 3 children, I'm a stepmom of 1, and I've just had my first grandchild, and that I have a rescue dog that I take out every day, and that I absolutely hate eating fish and olives, and I'm rubbish at swimming, as I start to tell you these things about myself, anything that's a point of commonality that you agree or disagree with is going to make you feel differently about me. And that is at the core of storytelling, which is what public press relations is, the bit that I deal with. Okay, so I'm going to talk to you today about the media particularly. It's an area I know very well. I can't see you all, but I will assume in the room that some of you have been featured in the media at some point. I also assume that in the room there'll be some of you that decide you don't like the media, you want to have anything to do with them, and that's absolutely fine. Media relations is not for everybody. You have to have the right mindset, and you have to have the right mission, and you have to decide whether it's right for you. If it's not, there's loads of other PR activities that you can do. So let's get that out of the way. Okay, right, media. If you are interested in working with the media, okay, the first thing to understand is they are not interested in your products or services. Okay, they are not interested in that. 99.9% of times, that is advertising. So if you want to focus on, I provide this service and the 25 points of the boiler that you sell, or what goes into this yogurt that I create, that's called advertising. Buy advertising space, take out ads, do digital ads, do something different, because the media are not interested in that. Okay, so I think, well, why would any business deal with the media then? The media bit really works for business owners that want to be more than just their product or service. And that actually is, when you get to know the small business sector, the majority of business owners. Generally, they will have a higher purpose or a higher need beyond the product that they are selling. So this might be, they want to be seen as green or sustainable. They want to empower people and impact people beyond their product or services. Okay, they want to be seen as very charitable and community minded, or they want to be a go-to expert in a particular field, area, or niche. This is the time when I think niche is okay. So if you are that type of business owner, this is something worth exploring. If you are frightened of the media, that's okay, don't bother with them. Okay, journalists are interested in stories. So if you want to work with the media, you have to understand what the stories in your business are. Okay, what is a story? Now, we all have to grasp this these days, because when I started 15 years ago, social media isn't what it is today. So we need to tell the stories of our day. We have to share our expertise. We have to do that if we want to be visible. With the media, it's about looking at your business and thinking, where are the stories? Okay, so mostly there'll be milestones within your business. I've recruited a new member of staff, and here they are. I've started my business, and this is who I am. I've won an award. I've got this as accreditation. I am running an event. These are all what we call bread and butter business stories. Okay, so I hope that makes sense to you. And in order for you consistently to appear in the media, you have to do stuff that is newsworthy. You cannot run the same story all the time. So I'll give you an example. I find that giving concrete examples is really helpful to me. So I hope it's helpful to you. I'm working with a business based in the Cheltenham area at the moment. We've just started out. They've been running for about 3 years, delivering pizzas in that area. And it's been really successful. Started in lockdown. So they started as a project just to carry them through lockdown. But it's been so successful that 3 years later, they want to franchise that model out. And I'm helping them with that. Now, if the local paper ran that story about them creating a new franchise model, are they going to run the same story the next month and the next month and the next month and the next month? No, they're not. They're not. So you have to proactively look at your business each month and think, right, what am I doing this month that might be of media interest? And anyone can do this. There's no rocket science in this. You don't need someone like me. You can look at it and think, right, okay, this month, now not much going on. I think it's a sort of blog social media month. Next month, I'm running an event. Oh, okay, I wonder if the media will be interested in that. Do you know, generally they will in your local area. Nice headshot of you, a little bit about your event, and at the very end there might be a booking link or something like that. Events are really good. Then the next month you might think, wow, I'm presenting that £500 to that charity. I raised that last year. Photograph of you with the person from the charity. Don't do the shaking hands thing, it's naff. Just a smiley picture of two local people having helped each other, and you could do a story like that. So look at your business on a month-by-month basis and see across a year if you can get 4 to 6 stories that the media be interested in. Okay, so that's where you start the diary of your business. Layered on top of that, okay, right, what things might the media be interested in that I can comment upon? We call that newsjacking. So there's a story out there anyway, okay, it's happening anyway, regardless of us, but I can have a say, I can have a voice or an opinion. So earlier on we heard the lady who's a lawyer, the family lawyer, talking about divorce day, which she didn't agree with, which is fine. But I can assure you there'll be a whole bunch of lawyers that do agree with that, and that will be out there doing their blogs or posting their opinion. But you could be out there doing a blog that day on why I don't agree with divorce day. Okay, and you can highlight that to journalists in various ways. So one very quick way of doing it is to share a link to that blog on Twitter, and you add the hashtag journo request, because journalists mine that for stories every single day. So do bloggers, so do influencers. So in my world, bloggers, influencers, journalists, they're all part of the media. I am conscious I'm throwing a lot at you. So if you've got any questions, you put them in the chat. I hope there'll be time for me to answer them later. Okay, so being topical and having a new sense around your business is a good thing to do. And some of you might think, oh yeah, but how do I cut through all the noise? Well, there's certain things every year that happen every year that are really predictable on which you can have an opinion, okay? I'll give you some easy ones first. Christmas, yeah, Easter, Halloween. These events happen every single year, and you can predict fairly comfortably that the journalists and the media generally are going to be writing about this stuff. That won't be relevant to all of your businesses, but it might be relevant to some of you. Okay, others might be the budget. Okay, the budget comes out, there is notice of it. Every single newspaper, for instance, in the land, BBC radio station, will be doing a roundup on the budget after the budget has taken place. Can you have an opinion on the budget? There isn't one person in this room who couldn't. If you're a small business owner, you have a valid opinion on the budget. It might be you think it's fantastic because of this, this, and this. It might be you think pants for small businesses because of this, this, and this. It might be you think, what a vanilla budget, doesn't actually move us forwards, backwards, doesn't really do anything. Get those comments to your local newspaper with a headshot of you by 5 o'clock the same day. There is every chance you will have publicity within 24 hours, okay? Because you are doing something that is topical. And in all of those stories, the journalist has to say who you are and what you do. And that's the sales pitch, folks. Okay, and the same with the national press. I'll give you an example. I was in the national press earlier this year because I saw a shout out from national journalists on women in their 50s that have started a YouTube channel. Okay, so I knew that was me because I have a YouTube channel with my husband about our caravan and our caravan journey. It's nothing to do with the business. So they ran a whole piece about me and the channel and the caravan channel, the kit we use, but within that, they have to say what I do and I get to decide what that is. So that's Fiona Scott of Scott Media. Because my name is in my business, it makes me easily searchable. So you need to think of being more than your business. None of us are, one-dimensional. We're not just our business owners. We are women, we are men, we are thousands of shades of grey in between. We are a certain age. We love certain things. We eat certain things. We might have dogs. There's loads of things in your business that you can talk about that drives people to your business and makes you of interest to the media. So think beyond the actual business. Think about all the things in your life you're happy to share and talk about. If there are things in your life you are not happy to share and talk about and that are private, you never put them out there. Okay, decide from the beginning. Okay, so I hope that's useful. Right, if you do want to be featured by the media, please avoid slagging the media off across your social media regularly and having a go, because the media in the UK is quite a small group of people. We tend to be, almost all of us are self-employed and freelancers, just like everybody else in this room. Okay, and if you are ranting on LinkedIn about how you hate the media and the media responsible for this, that and the others, you don't understand how the media works, because we just reflect what other people are saying. The power of the media is that we reflect it to a big audience. Okay, a much bigger audience than any of you can reach, because we represent an organisation that generally might have 100 years of history behind us. So if I'm writing for Wiltshire Life magazine, it's 80 years old. So I've got 80 years of heritage, 80 years of loyalty behind me, even though I might only be working on one single story. That doesn't mean you can't criticise the coverage of a certain story, as long as you're really authentic about it, but repeatedly slagging off the media and then expecting the media to write about you is not an aligned practice. And the media will notice this, particularly the national media, because we are a small bunch of people who write for the national media. And yes, I've done it and I do it. And I have a national journalist who works with me in my business to support me when I'm busy. And they all talk to each other. So if you want to be featured in the media or ultimately in the national media, you need to consider your behaviour. Okay, you need to consider your behaviour. And finally, how long have I banged on for? Have I gone on for ages? Yeah, I can carry on for ages. But if
you're doing fine, mate.
Yeah, and the key thing, folks, though, is to remember that stories are about people. So journalists will write about people first. Okay, so that is what they will write about. I'll give you an example. There's something coming up in February that happens every single year that journalists will be writing about. I mean, I suppose, can any of you think about what that might be? Anyone?
Valentine's Day.
Yay! Yeah. So a good theme for February is love. Well, any of us can write about loving our business or a love story, but this is a freebie I'm giving you now. The Daily Express is looking for people to talk about their accidental love story. Okay, and the deadline for that is 4 p.m. on the 20th. So i.e. if that's you and resonates with you, get that paragraph into that journalist today to talk about how the stars aligned for you to meet the love of your life for you. So it's accidental love. And the journalist is called Kate Graham. She's a freelancer and her email is grahamkate@hotmail.com. And she clearly said in her brief, which came through to me, I can mention your business name, okay? I can mention your business name. So if you've got a story where you fell in love with your partner and it was like the stars aligned, it was accidental, or you met in an unlikely situation and you're happy to share that story, get in touch with Kate. And then I would say to her, I pitched 2 clients for this yesterday. And what I say to Kate is, by the way, when you introduce my client, if you use this story, please can you describe them as Fiona Scott of Scott Media, based in Swindon. I think another thing I will say to you now is backlinks, okay? The techie people among you, the SEO specialists, will be thinking about the value of backlinks. And the domain authorities of most newspapers, even local newspapers, will generally be much higher than your website. So if you get a backlink from your business, so they put your business website link on their story and it links to your website, that creates what I call Google juice that goes round and round and round. I'll give you an example. This last year, I had a client's video was on the Mail Online talking about New Year tips. They didn't actually include her in the story at all, but they embedded 7-minute video of her talking about it because I asked her to do a video. That is still there. Daily Mail Online, her website, creating Google juice. But you cannot expect a backlink, folks. It is not a given. If the media offer you one, say, yes, please, rub your hands with glee and take it. But you cannot expect it. The media are starting to charge for backlinks. Yesterday, I got a client in TechRound, which some of you may know, online news service for tech. It's being published today, but if I want to add a backlink to it, the cost is £350 plus VAT. The media do not have to give you backlinks. And you cannot go back to the media and say, that story you ran about me 2 years ago, can you add a backlink? Would you do it if someone came to you and said, can I have a backlink on that guest post I provided you with for your website 3 years ago? The media know about the value of their websites. They know they reach a big audience. They know they've got high domain authority. Backlinks, take them when you can get them. No harm in asking, but don't expect. Very different if you're paying though. That's a whole different conversation. So have we got a few questions, Pete? Is it all right if I just ask questions?
So what we're going to do is we'll answer questions at 9, if that's all right. Is that okay? Yeah. So there are a few questions and we'll answer those at 9. I'm going to uncover myself as a bit, what's the word? We didn't have a conversation. You spoke to Sarah, so I don't know whether Sarah's asked you whether you've got a question for the gang. Has Sarah asked you?
No, but I will ask. I'd like to know if any of you've received any media coverage with your local media.
Okay, awesome. So what we're going to do is we're going to take you off spotlight and say, thank you so much, my love. That was amazing. I've literally got 1.5